The day after I graduated from college, I entered a corporate marriage pact with Hudson. On our first wedding anniversary, I asked for a divorce. That same afternoon, Hudson totaled his car and walked away with a mild concussion. The neurologist explained that his memory had snapped back to age 18. Great. In his mind, I'm a total stranger now. Wait, then who is this guy trailing me around the penthouse, kissing my hair and nuzzling my neck? Before we go further, hit subscribe and drop a comment telling us where you're listening from. Babe, what are we to each other? Legally married. For real? For real. We've had that exact exchange at least 5 times in the last 30 minutes. Every time, Hudson's whole face lights up like he just won the lottery. A stranger becomes his wife and he's thrilled. Guy's got the optimism of a golden retriever. I haven't mentioned the divorce papers. Nothing can be signed until his memory comes back, so we wait. The attending physician said Hudson could be discharged early. Familiar surroundings speed up recovery, he urged. Whatever you two normally do together, do more of it at home. I nodded politely while guilt twisted in my stomach. Hudson and I don't do much together. Our partnership was ink on a contract, not a love story. The first time we met, we shared a quiet dinner. Hudson plucked a slice of Wagyu onto my plate and cut to the chase. Serena, word is the Vance family's balance sheet is bleeding. I can cauterize it. Then he brushed the corner of my mouth with his thumb, cleaning away a crumb. Say the word and it's fixed. Meeting number 2, both families, private room at Grand. Hawthorne showcased its goodwill by signing a 9-figure acquisition that plugged every hole in my father's liquidity issue. Dad grinned so hard I thought his face would crack. Meeting 3, the engagement party, Grand again, chandeliers blazing. I clutched Hudson's sleeve while he steered me through a sea of congratulatory handshakes. I smiled until my cheeks spasmed, then bolted to the powder room and threw up my body weight in champagne. When I stumbled out, Hudson was leaning against the opposite wall, eyes unreadable. A year later, I still wouldn't call us close. Our first real kiss happened during the wedding shoot album session. The photographer wanted us wrapped around each other, my spine stayed rigid as rebar. When he begged for passion, I whispered, "Can we fake it?" Hudson laughed under his breath. A little late for modesty, Serena. He hooked a finger under my chin and sealed his mouth over mine. Zero retreat, total invasion. My fingers screwed up the lapels of his tux, my knees liquefied. The camera clicked like a metronome. That frame ended up projected on a 20-foot screen at the reception. Friends claimed it was the shot of the night. I sweated under my veil just looking at it. If I tally our shared activities, sex wins by a mile. Hudson's face could advertise cologne, but his body belongs on a fitness app billboard. While we posed, my palms mapped the ridges of his abs. I wanted more. Wedding night, the second the penthouse door shut, I fisted his collar and crashed my mouth into his, yanking buttons loose as I went. He chuckled against my lips. Puppy eager for her treat? Patience, unwrap it slowly. Then he flipped the script, kissing me viciously, tongue stroking until my lungs emptied. Before I'd finished unbuttoning his shirt, he'd peeled my gown to the small of my back, palms gliding over bare skin. I hit the jackpot, premium grade A husband. Getting out of bed the next morning required medical assistance. Taking amnesiac, 18-year-old Hudson to bed feels borderline criminal. Especially when divorce papers are sitting in my Hermes waiting to be served. Still, I already know I'll miss his body. Back at the penthouse, he bounces like a tourist. This is the living room. Here's his mahogany study, your usual seat. Master suite. I'm giving the grand tour when his gaze lands on the California king. Pink creeps up his throat. So, we sleep together? Obviously. Where else would a husband sleep? And we, do other stuff? I joke, waving a careless hand. His ears ignite. Right, memory stuck at senior prom, in his head he's probably a virgin. I clear my throat. Hudson leans in, eyes star bright. Can we do the other stuff tonight? Amnesia hasn't killed the libido. Great, it feels brand new. The Hudson I know is silky confidence. He likes watching me come apart under his hands. This version is endearingly clumsy. He closes his eyes before each kiss, lands one soft peck, pauses to breathe. I crush him back onto the pillow, licking his lower lip until he opens, teaching him the slow roll of tongues. He breaks away, chest heaving. I scowl, he's scarlet and gasping. He forgot how to breathe through his nose? If he's this overwhelmed by kissing, round 2 is going to be a disaster. Looking at this grown man wearing teenage inexperience on his face, guilt sucker punches me. Let's abort mission. I smooth my camisole and swing my legs off the bed. Hudson snatches my wrist. Did I mess up? Was the kiss bad? I didn't mean to pull away, I couldn't breathe. Kiss me again. I swear I won't dodge, not ever. Desperate puppy energy, nothing like the unruffled CEO who used to murmur, so sensitive, while I flushed scarlet. He pecks my cheek, seeking reassurance. I guide his hand to my waist, he trembles, then kneads the curve exactly the way I'm used to. His next kiss is messy, starving, determined, he runs out of air, inhales sharp, dives right back. I lock my arms around his neck and let the tide drag us under. Noon sunlight slaps me awake. I ache in places I forgot existed. Sure, Hudson kissed like a rookie, but once the main event started it was as if muscle memory booted up, terrifying and magnificent. One upgrade, he's addicted to kissing now. Even while driving into me he'd angle for my mouth. I mumbled stop with the lip lock and he misread T is multitask, so he kept thrusting and kissed me for an hour straight. I couldn't moan if I'd wanted to, my lips were numb. Babe, what are you hungry for? Hudson asks, chin propped on the mattress, eyes sparkling. I sort of hate his face right now. Still, not entirely his fault. Whatever, I mutter. He scoops me up and carries me to the dining table. I squint at the lumpy omelet, then at his expectant smile, and take a cautious bite. Actually decent. First meal Hudson has ever cooked for me. Babe, is it good? It's delicious. Then I'll cook for you every day. He smiled at me again. I couldn't help thinking about the past. When we first got married, both Hudson and I were swamped. By the time the housekeeper finished dinner and left, we'd eat in silence. Hudson would try to start a conversation now and then, and I'd answer half-heartedly. He was doing his best to play the perfect husband. But I didn't need that, a corporate marriage pact was nothing more than mutual convenience. Yet the present Hudson actually makes me feel loved. I tap my own forehead, warning myself. Hudson grew up a long time ago. Don't be fooled by the innocence he had at 18. Hudson's grandpa came to the penthouse to see him. I sat ramrod straight, afraid to make a sound. Back when the two families first arranged the pact, his grandpa had been against it. He wanted Hudson to find someone more suitable. The Vance family isn't good enough for us. How Hudson talked him round, I have no idea. I don't even know why Hudson picked me. Grandpa sat in the living room and barely glanced at me. Feeling better? Grandpa, I'm practically back to normal. Hudson wore a crisp, pressed shirt, posture perfect, tone respectful yet cool, every inch the aloof air. Compared to the Hudson who'd knelt by my bed, this one fit my old image of him. Since you're on the mend, Hawthorne business can't wait. Starting tomorrow, get reacclimated online. After we walked Grandpa out, Hudson collapsed into my AR. Miss, what's wrong? I caught him, thinking the gesture adorable. He mumbled, I have to work, can't stay with you. I laughed out loud. Who's accompanying whom? I shifted my own workload to take care of you. He still wouldn't let go, rubbing against me like a kindergartner who refuses to get on the bus. These days, while Hudson works from his mahogany study, I enjoy the calm, reading, tending flowers. And Hudson grows clingier by the hour. Every night he wants to glue himself to me. Exhausted, I lay down 3 non-negotiables. We agreed on a number, no pretending you forgot so we can have extras. Hudson gave me puppy eyes. It's hard, babe. Fine, we sleep in separate rooms. I refuse to indulge him. I'm sorry, I promise. He's adorable like this. The old Hudson felt untouchable. Now it finally feels like we're living a real life. Sigh, what am I going to do when it's time to bring up the divorce? Hudson officially began working from home. Miranda drops off documents now and then. Maybe the job tires him out, because lately the moment he's free he latches on, asking about the life he's forgotten. Babe, how did we get married? His eyes sparkle as he scoots over to drape an arm around me. My head is foggy with sleep, but I force an answer, matchmaking lunch. Hudson hugs me tighter and buries his face in my shoulder. What kind of guy doesn't chase you himself and needs a lunch setup? At least I know how to treasure you. With that tone he could pass for the other man in a cheating scandal. I'm not worth it, I said with a self-mocking smile. He let go, stared dead serious. Why talk like that? You deserve the very best. He pecked the corner of my mouth. Sleep vanished. This sweet Hudson could drown me. Did he even propose? No. There'd been no such thing. The morning after our engagement party Hudson dragged me to City Hall for the license, as though afraid I'd bolt. For a while I actually suspected he was hiding something. Only later, after I'd test-driven the goods, did that fear die. When he heard my story, Hudson pressed his lips shut. I pinched his cheek. Why the long face? I'm kind of mad at myself. I burst out laughing. How can the current Hudson be this cute? He didn't propose, but I will, right now. I let go of his face and joked, proposals only count before the wedding. If you're making it up, we'd have to divorce first. No divorce. I hadn't even finished before he cut me off. Not in this lifetime. He leaned in, eyes blazing. Don't even think it. But, don't say it, don't mention it, don't hypotheticate. He rattled off bans for half a minute. Thinking about divorce felt like clouds blotting out a sunny sky. Still, I wanted to live in the present, grab what was right in front of me. So I kissed him. Got it, stop nagging. Hudson kept staring, something unreadable in his gaze. Miranda says you want to divorce me. My heart sank. I saw the frantic look he was caging. She lied, right? Looking at him, I couldn't admit that I maybe, just maybe, liked him. Maybe more than maybe. Must be a misunderstanding. I never said that. I slid the topic aside, straddling him. His hands found my waist. Babe, let's take a few extra honeymoons, okay? I smiled. Let's survive tonight first. Hudson burst from the study, eyes bloodshot. The watering can in my hand nearly crashed to the floor. What's wrong? Babe, what's this? He shoved a document at me with shaking hands. It was the divorce papers I'd hidden on the bookshelf. No more hiding. I'd already decided on this course, yet my heart pounded seeing him find out. Why do you want to leave me? What did I do wrong? Tell me and I'll fix it. Don't leave me. If you walk away I'll die. Tears slid down his cheeks. He looked heartbreakingly fragile. I took the papers from him. Don't overthink. Wait until you get your memory back. He wouldn't release my hand, stubborn for once. I sighed, tore the divorce papers in front of him. Subject closed. I forced the page turned. The next few eyes, whenever he tried to revisit it, I kissed him. After each kiss he looked aggrieved. You never kissed me first before, and now you kiss me the second I mention divorce. Why do you want it? Say something, babe. I was speechless. How could I speak with his hand over my mouth? He realized, let go. I stuck my tongue out at him. Not telling. If you knew the reason we'd probably be signing today. Why do you want a divorce? Can we drop it? Then promise you won't leave. I couldn't promise. Hudson kept at it, desperate for assurance. I didn't understand why a man who saw me as a stranger would cling this hard. Maybe he's old-fashioned, thinks he owes me responsibility. Just like before he lost his memory. After a passionate night he wiped me down with a towel, then went into the bathroom alone. The drumming of water sounded like a lullaby. Half asleep, I realized he'd been in there too long. On impulse I sat up, walked over, and pushed the door open. I saw something I'll never forget. Hudson's left arm was covered in blood. Shoulder to forearm to palm. In his right hand he gripped the silver penknife, trembling. When he saw me he frantically tried to hide the blade and his sliced arm behind his back. My scream stuck in my throat, every taste bud puckering with acid. He stood with his head bowed like a kindergartner who'd been caught red-handed. The arm he kept hidden kept bleeding, each drop blooming into a small red chrysanthemum on the tile behind him. Yet he looked utterly innocent, as if someone else had dropped him in the middle of the mess. I bolted from the room, yanking open drawers and cabinets in a frantic hunt for the first aid kit. By the time I ran back to the bathroom Hudson was slumped against the vanity, defeated. He stared at the gash, letting the blood run, his eyes stripped of any warmth. I actually read self-loathing in the way he let it drip. Give me your hand. My voice came out cold and hard. He lifted his head, locked eyes with me. And something inside them flared back to life. Darling, I thought you'd finally thrown me away. I didn't bother answering. I just hauled his hand toward me. Disinfect, gauze, pressure. Hudson hissed like a leaky radiator. If you hate pain, don't pull stunts like this. Darling, are you mad at me? I counted breaths inside my head. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Don't lose it, don't scream at him. But the words still cracked. You can't sleep so you mutilate yourself at midnight. Have you lost your mind? He stayed quiet for a long beat, then confessed, the second I imagine you don't want me, breathing feels pointless. Darling, just treat this as my dress rehearsal. I swear I won't actually die before we sign the real divorce papers. What kind of promise is that? Tears flooded out. I wanted to slap him awake. But the pathetic picture he made drained the violence right out of me. I exhaled in surrender. I lifted his arm again, scanning for any cut I'd missed. That's when I noticed the older scars. Faint, paper-thin, almost invisible. I had never seen them before. What are these? I traced the newly discovered lines. He tried to jerk his arm back. You've been doing this for years? When? Do you even remember? Before you turned 18 or after? My voice kept climbing, shaking with sobs, sounding accusatory. I hadn't meant to lash out, but I couldn't throttle the panic. Every scar I saw felt like a punch to my own chest. He kept his head down, the stubborn sulk only teenagers perfect. If you won't talk, then we'll get a. I slammed the brakes before the word divorce escaped. Too late, Hudson had already heard. His eyes dimmed, and I caught the despair he failed to hide. I'm sorry. That was a cheap threat. I shouldn't weaponize leaving you. I moved in and wrapped my arms around him. Half-dried blood smeared across my white nightgown. Neither of us cared. Hudson kissed me so hard our teeth clicked, something wet touched my cheek, his bitter tears. He lifted me onto the counter with one arm, driving the kiss deeper. We kissed like we were trying to crawl inside each other. His clumsy desperation reeked of pain. Darling, I did good, right? Give me one more round. When he tried to carry me to the shower, I pushed him off gently and steadied myself against the wall. No water on that arm for now. Hudson stared at his left forearm, looking absolutely crushed. I brushed my lips over his. You aced tonight. We've got forever, no need to rush the encore. The next morning I vowed we would have a real conversation. The moment he spotted me coming he dodged into his mahogany study, pretending to be fascinated by paperwork. His gaze turned unreadably deep. I marched in, swept the mountain of folders off the desk, and parked myself on the walnut top. I planted my foot on his knee. Stop running. This time he obeyed. Tell him not to hide and he stays put. Start talking about those arm scars. Pass. TSK, rebel again. I slid my foot higher until it rested over his heart. His palm curled around my instep, his breathing ragged. Darling, how about we christen the study today? I beamed. The study? Sure. He lunged forward, desperate to pin me with a kiss. I dodged and shoved him back with my toes. Confession first, fun second. Hudson gave a low groan. What were the old cuts about? He looked pitiful trying to clamp the memories down. At last he forced the words out, one by one. There was a stretch when I figured no one on earth loved me. When Hudson turned 18, Grandma died. His parents were swallowed by work and barely home. When they were, they fought so loudly they never noticed him. The person who raised him was Grandma. After she was gone, Hudson couldn't see the point of existing. He had no idea why he was still breathing. Around that time his parents floated the idea of college abroad. The thought of being flung into a foreign place wrapped him in loneliness so thick he started cutting, just to confirm he could still feel. I hugged him, heart aching. Then what happened? Later I fell for someone. She was amazing, she made the whole world feel amazing. I listened, dazed. So Hudson had already poured his entire heart into another girl. For some reason the knowledge tasted sour. He pulled me onto his lap and nuzzled the corner of my mouth. Darling, you insist I have amnesia. But what if you're the one who forgot first? Hudson clammed up afterward, yet he still collected on his study room promise. After the fireworks he dropped soft kisses along my shoulder. Darling, I love you so damn much. Then love yourself enough to quit the carving. I rolled my eyes. He chuckled and banded his arms around me. For a flash I thought I saw mischief spark in his pupils, maybe just my imagination. That afternoon Miranda dropped off contracts. As she headed out, she leaned in while Hudson shuffled papers and whispered, Serena, you might want to speed up the divorce. The day of the crash he would have found out already. He's only forgotten, once he remembers you've been lying, the fallout will be nuclear. Serena, save yourself. I stared after her, biting my lip so hard I tasted iron. Feels like someone shaking you awake at the sweetest part of a dream. Hudson was still leafing through the stack when a single sheet fluttered to the floor. My pulse stuttered, I had no time to intercept it. He picked it up, skimmed it, then looked at me with slow, cruel recognition twisting his mouth. This is why you're itching to leave me? It sounded like a judge's gavel slamming down on my life. Right now Miranda was handing the folder to Hudson, undoubtedly on his orders. Fate had delivered the verdict before I could mount a defense, and anyway I had no standing to argue. If you're trying to divorce me over this, Hudson brushed his lips against mine, the touch so soft I almost missed it, forget it. A dull ache spread through my chest. Better to set him free now than keep wasting his days. It's not just that. I forced my chin up and looked straight at him. I've realized marriage ought to have love. We don't. Hudson's answer was a short, angry laugh. We don't, huh? Then what were those kisses lately? The sweet talk? Or do you just enjoy the idiot who cries for you and hurts himself? If that's what turns you on, I can play that role right now. He spun toward the door of his mahogany study. Afraid he'd harm himself again, I seized his arm. Hudson, I don't want to waste any more of your life. Divorce now and you'll find someone better, someone you can actually love. He froze. What do you take me for? And what do you take yourself for? There is no one better. There's no one I could love more. He leaned to my ear. I already met the person I love most when I was 18. Hudson told me a story. 1 month before winter break of senior year, the pain inside him sharpened every day. Once vacation ended, he would leave the city he knew for a country that felt like a foreign planet, and the thought hollowed him out. So he climbed to the rooftop garden of Riverdale Academy, propped himself against the steel doorframe, and watched the sun bleed out without a word. His phone kept vibrating, Hawthorne paging him from the mansion. He ignored it. The last crimson thread of light vanished. Guess the time is now, he thought. He straightened up, edging closer to the parapet. A girl caught his sleeve. Don't go so near, it's dangerous, you could fall. Are you upset? If you are, talk to me. He turned and saw a ponytailed girl, eyes wide with worry. She felt warmer than the sun. She said she'd been up there for hours solar charging. Highest spot on campus, she'd grinned. Closest to the sun. After that, Hudson went to the roof every afternoon, waiting for her. He never confessed the bleakness inside him, he just shared silly campus gossip. She listened, laughing easily, and his heart pounded with a crazy idea. Maybe he could build a new bond that made the world worth staying in. Then one day she didn't come. Maybe coursework had buried her, maybe she'd outgrown their chats. He searched the corridors but never found her, only confirmed she wasn't a senior. He flew out carrying regret like excess baggage, vowing he'd track her down when he returned. Years passed, the yearning was padlocked and forgotten, and the reason he worked himself half to death blurred. Until his mother marched a matchmaker into the penthouse loft armed with a stack of photos. Hudson meant to refuse, until a familiar face snagged his gaze. Who's this? Serena, the Vance family's daughter, the matchmaker chirped. The Vances aren't top tier, but the girl herself is stellar, grades, poise, looks. Hudson stared at the picture, that face was burned into him. Every ember roared back to life. I want her. Only her. He tapped the photo. I sat speechless, the story detonating inside my skull. So the boy sagging on the rooftop had been him. I'd always pictured Hudson as unshakable, riding life on a crest of confidence, never linked him to the lonely figure I met up there. My brain blue screened. Why did you stop coming? Huh. I let out a sheepish laugh. Final term paper swallowed me. Not an excuse, homework had multiplied like viruses, leaving zero daylight for rooftop sunbaths. Hudson's expression glitched, then rebooted. So, do you still want a divorce? Now that you know I'm in love with you, still want out? Or is it the 18-year-old lovesick version you prefer? Maybe I should have confessed back then. I was a coward. He drifted closer until his arms fenced me in. My thoughts dissolved, all I could register was how unfairly good-looking he was. Words stopped mattering. I hooked my arms around his neck and kissed him hard. Surprise flickered across his face before he bent down so I wouldn't have to strain. Not divorcing, I heard myself murmur. Filing papers after learning he loves me would be brutal, and, truthfully, I'm more than a little in love too. Nobody remembers how we ended up horizontal. Afterward he held me so tightly our ragged breaths merged. His phone rang. Cradling me with one arm, he answered with the other. I couldn't help eavesdropping. The Vance girl is off the table. Pick someone else, ordered his grandfather. Hudson dropped a silent kiss on my temple, an apology in advance. I'm keeping her. Don't be a fool, Hudson. Hawthorne has only you. Grandpa, back off, and leave her alone. Drive her away and I'll get a vasectomy. You can parade 100 brides in front of me and still get no great-grandkids. The old man sputtered incoherently. Good night. Hudson hung up. I propped myself on an elbow and studied him. What, divorce again? Forget it. The first time you said it I almost wrecked the car. No. I just noticed that since you got your memory back you've stopped calling me wife. His ears flamed. He cleared his throat. Wife. And softer, if you like it, I'll say it more, wife. I hugged him, utterly content. When exactly did the memories click? That afternoon in the study. Okay, conversation over. My turn to blush crimson. That session had been athletic. Athletic enough to reboot an entire lost past, who knew? Your face is red, wife. He didn't have to announce it. I buried my head in his chest. Wife, do you prefer me now or the amnesia version? You're jealous of yourself? Because it felt like you tried harder when I couldn't remember. I slapped a hand over his mouth. Keep it down, do we need broadcast coverage? It's just, I was afraid you'd be out of practice. Wife, I'm still out of practice. He rolled over and kissed me silent. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the story, like and share it with friends. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more tales. See you next time.